I'm like, let me out this motherfucker. Don't be coming over to them people countries trying to figure out where to go and then you going down the one way like I told y'all. I would just say don't even go and give them people your ID. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. You have to have a backbone to drive in Jamaica.
Every time I try to leave, something keeps pulling me back, telling me I'm leaving. Every time I try to call, something keeps pulling me back. Every time I try to leave, something keeps pulling me back, telling me I'm leaving. Yeah, I know what this is.
Hey y'all, so welcome back to my channel, and I'm back with another video today. As you can see from the title down below, your girl is getting into it today about why you should reconsider renting when you go to Jamaica. And I'm not talking about houses, I'm talking about cars. So let's get straight into the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those post notifications so you can be notified every time I post. So let's get into it. Renting a car while vacationing in Jamaica may not be the best choice for everyone. So just make sure you continue to watch this video throughout until the end to see if it is a good choice for you. For one, the road conditions. If you are not used to driving on the left side of the road in your country and you're used to driving on the right side and you're not used to getting in the vehicle where you will be on the left side and the wheel will be on the left side, that's something to consider, because in Jamaica everyone does drive on the left side and the steering wheel is on the left side. If you have like road anxiety when it comes to driving like in unfamiliar territory, and you're also not accustomed to driving on another side of the road, I would say move with caution when it comes to deciding if you want to drive in Jamaica, because of course if you're not used to it, it can be a little, you know, nerve-wracking. And if you're a person with anxiety and you just don't really feel comfortable in situations like that, I would just advise to get a driver, because it may be a little bit much for you. The other day I saw someone coming down on one way. So yes, if you have that anxiety of like driving in other places, like even if you go to other states, I would just advise do not do it if you are not comfortable with the road condition. Also signage, so like the signs, yielding, you're going around a curve and it gives you that, you know, you're going around a curve sign with the symbol, whatever. If you are used to just driving with those like type of precautions, they are not everywhere. They are there, like, you know, in some areas, but some people may just like be like, hey look, we know that everyone is going this way, it's a one way. If the light is red and nobody is coming this way, we might just go. So if you are a person that's not really comfortable with certain, not necessarily rule breaking, but like if you certain signages, like if you're used to like driving and you have to see this sign or this stop sign or this yield, I would just say don't really do it, especially when it comes to like rural areas, some bad roads, so like potholes. If you're not used to driving in conditions like that, or if you're not a super experienced driver, I would just say move with caution when it comes to deciding if you're going to drive in Jamaica, because those little things can, you know, can have a big determining factor on if you feel comfortable. And we don't want you to be on the road getting into like fender benders and stuff like that. So yeah, just think about those things as well. Also, something else is aggressive driving. If you are in you know, everybody in different countries and different states within, like, you know, America, I know everybody has different driving styles, but I'm going to be honest, if you are not like used to the Jamaican style of driving, it's like it can seem a bit aggressive, you know, but I've always been like a very strong-headed driver when it comes to like, you need to let me out. I'm like, let me out this motherfucker. So I've also like always had that mindset of like, hey, like you're not going to get anywhere on the road if you are just allowing everybody to, you know, kind of bully you into not doing something that you need to do. If you are a person that's not like used to like kind of aggressive driving, I would just say don't even go and give them people your ID to drive, because honey, you have to have a backbone to drive in Jamaica, because honey, everybody's trying to get somewhere like any other place, and if you don't really know how to keep up with the driving, it's just not going to work out for you. And I don't want you to get cussed on the road and you feel uncomfortable when someone call you out your name out the window. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. So if you are not used to like certain driving styles in Jamaica, Jamaicans, like the driving style is like just different. So I would just say if you're not used to that, don't do it. Also, it's like if you're not used to people overtaking you, speeding, a lot of that is done in Jamaica because it's fast paced. Like everyone is trying to get somewhere, everyone is trying to, you know, just go somewhere. So if you're not used to overtaking or like speeding, don't do it. Traffic too, like depending on like where you are used to, traffic can get like pretty steep depending on the time of year you go, if kids are in school. It's just a lot of factors, and then also the time of day that you're traveling. If you're not used to like traffic and you're uncomfortable, or you get like antsy or anxiety with driving, you know, in traffic, just don't do it. Especially if you're like in Montego Bay and Kingston area, they can get pretty like, you know, certain areas in those like areas can get pretty backed up. So if you're not used to traffic, or you get major like anxiety or stress during traffic, don't even go ahead and people your driver's license. Just go on and get a drive. Another thing I would say is like tough is like navigation. If you're going certain areas, like if you do like river rafting or like certain things, I know that the GPS can get a little wonky, you know what I'm saying? So I would just advise, like if you rely heavily on GPS and you can't really take instructions from someone, like, you know, directions and stuff like that, I would just say don't do it, because some places you may need to ask someone like, hey, where is this, like how far up the road, and you want to be able to know that you can navigate well and like, you know, take in like easily digest directions. Because if you do not really have a sense of direction somewhere else, don't be coming over to them people countries trying to figure out where to go, and then you going down the one way like I told y'all. So no, I would just say like navigation, if you rely heavily on navigation and you really are not really good with like you know, pinpointing things, landmarks, just don't do it. Costs, I would say renting a car can be pretty costly. When I first started renting a car, I could rent a car for like $50 a day. I'm not sure if that's expensive, but yeah, but then now it's like 65, 70. So I was going to someone who I rented a car for a while, but then I told y'all when that fender bender situation happened and I had to keep that car for almost a month, I don't rent cars anymore. I just don't. I personally don't. It's too expensive and I just don't do it. I don't do it. Also, when you're renting a car, make sure you have, you know, the insurance on there. Sometimes they'll try to nickel and dime you for all of that type of stuff, or like sometimes you could probably get a car thinking it's included and it's not. So just be really mindful when you're doing that whole process, and just make sure you're being diligent and vigilant and knowing what you need to have on the car just in case something happens. Protecting yourself if something do happen, especially if it's not your fault. So yeah, it can be pretty expensive, and but $50, you know, I felt like that was all right. But now when I called them like for a date, it was like, oh, $80-something. No, you can have it. So yeah, it can be a lot, can be kind of expensive. But when you find a good rental company, just stick with them and just always go to them, especially if you're someone that goes to Jamaica often. Safety concerns, I feel like if you are just not used to a place, and if you don't really have strong confidence in like your ability to drive, or like familiarity, I guess, like with areas, or like, you know, that when it comes from the safety standpoint, I guess some people who really don't know the area, it would be a little like, you know, anxiety, because you don't know the area, you don't know what's considered dangerous or whatever the case may be. If you feel like anxious in that area, I would just say don't drive, you know, especially because you're on vacation. You may not want to deal with that hassle of like, oh my God, I don't know where I'm going, or what I need to do next, and da-da-da-da. To kill all that, just get a driver, because you're on vacation essentially. But if you are trying to like move to Jamaica and just like, you know, get yourself like accustomed to the flow of things, then that's different. But if you're on vacation, like why not just have somebody drive you around? Because it could be a stress trying to keep up with a car and like do all that, you know, depending on who you are and where you want to go. If you're traveling long distances, it may make sense to just get a car. Like if you're going from one parish to another, yeah, that makes sense. But if you're staying within like one parish the whole time, it just don't make sense to get a rental. But hey, you know, whatever floats your boat, I'm with it. So next thing I would say is like something to consider is lack of parking. Like sometimes when you park in certain areas, because you're not familiar with how things work, it could be a little bit much, especially if you're not used to street parking, you know, parking on the road, parallel parking. It could be a lot. If that's not your strong suit, don't be going out here trying to parallel park in somebody else's country and that's not your strong suit. So parking can be a little stressful every now and then, but yeah, the parking can be, you know, a bit much, but depending on what area you're in, like signs will let you know. You can ask people. Sometimes you can put, like if you're in Montego Bay, you can park at the casino, Coral Cliff, and yeah. Public transportation is another option if you're near the strip and you want to just get on a taxi just to get to the other part of the strip. Yeah, just say let me off here, hop on there, give, you know, the driver whatever they asking for, whatever. Like, I don't know how much it is now because I ain't took a taxi on the road, but I know sometimes it won't be no more than like 200 Jamaican dollars. But yeah, like if you want to do public transportation, if you're in the area, but as far as like public transportation, I would just say if you have someone that you can trust and, you know, help you, and someone that can guide you, and if you know the route, and if, you know, you're trying to like move there, then that's different. But if you're on vacation, just get a driver. It makes sense. Yeah, I would just say public transportation is only if you really need to. But yeah, it's only taxis. It's not like big old buses that you could pay like $1 in some states. It's just taxis, local taxis. When it comes to renting a car, I feel like the greatest thing about it is like you can get a very great experience where you can actually dive into the culture, go around, sightsee, see things that you may not be able to see. And I think it's a great way to actually just explore. So if you are comfortable with all of these things that I listed and it's not really like an issue for you, I would say do it. But if it's like, you know, if you have issues with some of the things I stated, I would say don't do it. But driving has its perks. You know, having a driver has its perks. You just have to weigh out the options, especially when you're thinking about traveling, especially if this is your first time. So it's not all bad, you know. When it comes to renting a car, I would just say if you do get an offender bender, make sure that you take that car back to the people, especially if it's not your fault. And just, you know, just be cautious. Pay attention to one ways, and it's always good to just pay attention to the driver in front of you, and make sure that whenever you're driving in Jamaica, just make sure if you're on the left side driving, as long as you are next to a curve, you are in the right direction. As long as that curve is to the left, that's kind of how I learned to navigate it. And if you're on the main road, the passengers should be towards like the traffic, like the next car, and you should be always to like a curb or like the side of the road. And that's what really helped me navigate. I was super freaking scared to drive my first time. I was like, oh hell no, everybody driving crazy, I don't know what the hell to do, what the hell. I was like, hell no, I'm not doing this. But I did it, and you know, it was a great experience. And then from that point, I just kept renting cars. So you never know, like if you are a person, like I said, I'm a very experienced driver. I've like had to go long distance since before, back and forth from college. So if you are an experienced driver and it's just the thought of like, oh my god, I don't want to drive on the left side of the road, it's really not that hard. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. But if I can do it, you can do it. You can do it, I can do it. So yeah, y'all, so I just wanted to come on here and just talk about it. I know I have a video down below, like just about like renting a car, but I spoke on it prematurely because I was just now like, you know, getting into the process of renting a car. Now I feel like I got a little bit of experience under my belt, so I'm just not yapping to yap. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Just tune in, let me know, comment down below, what is your greatest fear about driving in Jamaica or just driving in another country. My fear was just like driving on the other side of the road, but I faced that fear and now I drive all the time. But I don't like renting no damn car, but it's okay. But yes, y'all, I'm out of here. Peace. Mwah.
Every time I try to leave, something keeps pulling me back.